In this video, my plan is to go ahead and show off the best ways to make money, gems, and just a load of good items here on Minecraft Skyblock. So if you want to get rich and get good at the game, I recommend watching the full video because it's going to teach you a lot. Anyways, let's get right into the video. So for today's video, I thought I'd go over the current meta on Minecraft Skyblock on the Akuma MC server, so you guys can start catching up or start learning how to play properly. So I want to show you all the best ways to make a lot of progression. The very first thing I do want to mention about the server, it is a AFK economy. AFK stands for away from keyboard. So basically all these farms here are all alternate accounts. So if I go up to the top of this farm, you can see there is one of my alts and I have 4 running currently on 4 different farms. If you guys do want to go ahead and find out the actual chunks and the location of where I put the alt exactly, because it does have to be right on the edge of this pillar, go ahead and go to Aya's Visit, not Connor. And also this is a whole farm, so the top and the bottom stone brick are essentially just blockers, so then there's no villagers spawning on top or getting stuck in the bottom. So everywhere where the spawners is currently is where the alt can reach. It can also reach down to this block here. It's just we don't need to put that many spawners because we're currently overflowing on emeralds. Villager farms are the main meta for making money. You just have to be able to AFK them. So this is the full radius of spawners, at least for our design, of how far a alt can reach, as well as currently right now there are looting scrolls on the server, and fire scrolls. I recommend only getting looting level 1 and fire scroll level 1. Fire scroll kills them with fire mid-air, and then looting just gives more loot. I just recommend don't upgrade the looting scroll or even the fire scroll, what you can't, but I'm saying the looting scroll specifically because it is kind of bugged out for this map. And then the last scroll, we don't even use what is a magic scroll. It doesn't even work, so I recommend not even using that. But each stack has 64 spawners in it. You really only need this many spawners in a farm, 64 in a stack, and one of these farms in 24 hours AFK'd exactly makes about $20 billion in game. So since my alts are on 24/7, so 24 hours around the clock, I'm making about maybe 80 billion from all these farms combined. As you can see on the scoreboard, I have 218 billion because I've been selling stuff and also just selling all the loot within these. Because this is where all the loot picks up. You have a double chest right here. One is a legendary auto sell chest and then a regular chest next to it. And then you put 2 chunk hoppers and they have to be in different chunks. And then you do the same over here and here. And then the same over here and here. One of the corners is going to be lonely and just have its own little hopper. And you won't really need another one. And then this one's also connected. But basically that's how you collect all the loot. It's pretty simple as that. The one thing I do want to go over is the packed ice, as well as the water and the stone brick. The whole reason we have this is just so then when our items overflow, it would go in here and then it would sell into chests. But it's not even worth it anymore to even do that, like put it in an auto sell chest, because we can sell one of those for literally 10 billion. But the main plan with this design was really just to have our farm overflow consistently and all the loot flow into here, and then we have 3 different auto sell chests collecting the whole time until it overflows and can't pick up anymore at a specific rate. But there has been some bugs with hoppers on the server. Apparently items when they're on top of hoppers do not flow super fast if it's like a chunk hopper. And another issue is if you get a stack above 64. If I drop this on the ground, that's 64 there, but it picked up with another stack. But the point is, if it's a stack or more, it doesn't give you all the loot. So let's say if you have 65 emeralds in one of those item stacks, because they have custom pickup systems on the server, if you pick that up, it's gonna be around 64 exactly. And if you had, like, let's say double the amount of 64, so 128, pick that up, you're gonna get 64. I don't know if this currently still applies to the server because this was like weeks ago, but there has not been too many changes. So that was the whole plan for this system, and we never got to really use it because of the hopper issues, what is very unfortunate. And I do want to mention the main source for me, at least, to make a ton of money while playing the server like actively is by going ahead and doing /mine. You do need to mine about 100 or 200 blocks to access the mine, so you need to like mine cobblestone from a generator in order to get access to this. And then you go to the mine, and the way you level up your block type is by getting your skills up. As you can see, if we take a look at 5 on our mining skill, you get iron ore, and then it continues up over time. But one of the main things you do get when you hit 95 is the final buff for block tickets, I believe. Yeah, you get your final buff of block tickets, and this makes you block tickets when mining. You get all these other boosts as well, gems, bookfinding, and mining speed, but it's really not like the main priority. The main thing I'm focused on when I'm here mining is the block tickets. So if you want to max it out, you can get a 225% block ticket finding at 95, but you can still get block tickets beforehand. As you can see, you can get 200% at 85, 175% at 75, and it goes down on the list. As you can see, there's a ton of beacons. And you do want to have one of the maxed out pickaxes. This is a maxed out pickaxe. Of course, you're gonna need one of these. The only enchant it's missing is Mead's PayPal, what is not even that great, so I didn't bother getting it on my pickaxe. And then a pet you could use to make more block tickets is the Holy Excavator pet. Higher the rarity is basically gonna give you more levels to upgrade, and the higher the level is, you get more proc chance. So I have a 13% on a level 24, and it just works like the blast enchant. So if I go ahead, activate the pet, I'm also gonna do my gem pet, because why not? If I go ahead and start mining, you can see I instantly mine from just left clicking. With all the enchants on this pickaxe, I can semi-insta mine, and then when I believe it's turbo mining procs, I can actually insta mine for a certain period of time. But as you can see, I already made 9 block tickets, and that hasn't even been like 20 seconds of me mining. Of course, it varies depending on how many blocks you're mining at a time and how many procs you're getting from Excavator. But another trick I do want to mention that people have been noticing is if you do go ahead and mine a lot to the point where you've mined almost every single block in, let's say, a specific area in /mine, I recommend you go to spawn and then just teleport back, because for some reason when you do that you get more block tickets. At least I've noticed, and it does apply with book finding as well. So let's say if I were to mine right here with all this stuff regenerated, it's gonna make me way less block tickets and books for some odd reason. But yeah, I highly recommend if you're gonna mine out the whole area, just make sure you go to spawn and come back to the mine every once in a while. At least that's something I do personally. But as you can see, I already have 47 block tickets, technically 46, and I also do get a ton of cloud keys. And the way this makes me a ton of money in the current state of this map is if we go ahead and take a look in chat somewhere. As you can see, Icy005, they say IS visit and then their visit or warp whatever, sell your block tickets for 6 million per block ticket, and your block value, if you accidentally did open up block tickets and you don't want the block value, you can go ahead and sell your block tickets. And people also buy crate keys too, depending on the person's shop, of course, or warp. But people buy crate keys and they also buy block tickets. So if you want to make a ton of money, you can go ahead and do this strategy and just mine. And the way you get the cloud keys, by the way, is from Treasure Hunter and then also Celestial Hunter 5. That's how you get crate keys, from mining and farming and grinding mobs, and then you can just sell those. And another tip, if you don't want these mining books that are spare, what you guys can go ahead and do is actually instantly salvage these, put them in, and I believe each one is 50 gems, so it's an easy way to produce gems. As well as when you're mining, you make a ton of gems as well once you start semi-insta mining. But there you go, that is the meta/metas of the map. If you enjoyed the content you were just watching, make sure to check out some more.